Hello, I'm First Lady Betsy Dalrymple. Thank you for volunteering to be a precinct election officer. Your service and commitment are vital to the democratic process. Our goal is to ensure that all North Dakotans are enabled to vote independently and privately on Election Day. This, of course, includes voters with disabilities. In North Dakota, approximately 1 in 10 individuals of voting age have disabilities. Some of them may need your assistance in order to complete the voting process. This video is a tool to help make you more comfortable in communicating and interacting with voters with disabilities and to help ensure the polling site is accessible on voting day. And remember to smile and be welcoming.
Thank you. Hi, how are you today? ID? Oh, okay, can I get some paper, please?
Many voters have disabilities. Some disabilities are visible, some are not. In fact, many people of voting age have a disability. You probably encounter people in your daily life with disabilities but may not know it. So how do you know if a voter needs assistance or would like to use the accessible voting device? How do you respond to make the voting process smooth for individuals with disabilities? Here are some suggestions. Treat everyone the same way. Have good eye contact. Look at the person when talking to him or her, even if he or she has an interpreter or an assistant. Offer every voter all options, the accessible voting device or the paper ballot. Remember, anyone, including people without disabilities, may use the accessible voting device. Offer assistance. Tell the voter that you would be happy to help if assistance is needed. And relax and smile.
Okay.
Could we get a paper ballot, please?
Be patient as you work together to establish a communication system that works. Sometimes not speaking the same language as the voter can make you nervous. Here are some tips that may help you. Write down questions or instructions. You can use a whiteboard or pen and paper. Keep your questions and instructions simple. Remember that American Sign Language isn't English. Pre-printed items. You may want to have things you say often pre-printed to help save time. It's also a good idea to have pre-printed instructions in large font on how to operate the machines so all voters, not just those who are deaf or hard of hearing, may read them. Voters have several options and ways to cast their vote. Let them know that they can mark their ballot using a pen or with the assistance of the accessible voting device. Voters are also allowed to bring with them an already filled out sample ballot or notes reminding them of how they want to vote on certain races or measures.
Hello, and how are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Good. Can I see your ID?
What constitutes or what qualifies for a valid ID?
In North Dakota, there are a number of different types of IDs. There's a driver's license ID, there's a non-driver's license ID, there's a tribal ID, and a long-term care certificate. But all of these have to have your name, your address, where you're living right now, and date of birth.
Okay, well, I have a non-driver's license ID card.
That would be wonderful. All righty, thank you. And you go right to your left here and get a ballot.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Would you be interested in using the accessible voting device? It has headphones.
Yes, I would.
All right. Do you need any assistance going over to the machine?
Yes, please. I'll take your arm.
Okay, here's the ballot right there.
Thank you.
I'll come around and give you a hand.
Thanks to the headphones, Janelle is able to vote independently and privately. When a voter arrives at the polling site, it may not be apparent that they have a disability. The best approach? Treat all voters the same, using appropriate gestures, make eye contact, and smile. There are many types of disabilities. Voters with disabilities are just regular people with jobs, friends, family, and a home. However, sometimes their right to vote has been challenged, solely based upon a diagnosis. Remember, unless a person's right to vote has been specifically removed by the court in a guardianship proceeding, the individual has the right to vote.
I'm here to vote.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand what you
I'm
said.
here to vote.
Okay, good. There's your ID, thank you.
When you don't understand someone's speech, it's okay to ask the person to repeat him or herself. It is also important that the poll worker speak directly to the voter to help the voter understand what is being said. We also need to remember that not all people with intellectual disabilities have speech impairments. Likewise, not all people with speech impairments have intellectual disabilities. A tip on interacting with voters who have disabilities: always ask the voter if he or she needs assistance before providing it. Sometimes well-meaning actions actually make things harder for the person with a disability.
Hi, would you like some help to the poll site?
Yes, I would like that.
All right, let me give you a hand.
Another important tip is to always use what is referred to as people first language. This puts the person before the disability. For example, say people with disabilities rather than disabled people or the disabled. Do not use phrases such as confined to a wheelchair or crippled. These references may diminish the individual's dignity and magnify the disability. Instead, use phrases like the person who uses a wheelchair. The Americans with Disabilities Act and the Help America Vote Act require that polling places must be accessible. There must be an accessible route to the polling place entrance. This means there should not be gravel, steps, or any other barriers that are not resolved without at least a temporary solution. It also means there must be signage that clearly dictates the route to the accessible entrance. Consider the weather conditions. Given North Dakota's winters, it's a good reminder to make sure snow and ice is removed for safe access to the voting precinct. There also must be an accessible entrance, which means if the voters have to go through a door, a person should be able to go through it without assistance. There must be accessible parking that should be wide enough to accommodate a van with a lift. The route to the sign-in table and the voting area should be barrier-free. In addition, the accessible voting device should be set up before the polls open, and the precinct officers should be educated on how to use it and when to offer assistance. Like voters, every polling place is different. If you have questions or know of an issue, please contact your county auditor. The purpose of this video is to familiarize yourself with common accessibility issues. Remember to be respectful, helpful, and to give appropriate information. You can make the voting experience a positive one. Thank you for watching, and thanks again for helping all voters of North Dakota exercise their right to vote. And remember, smile.
Our election process works best when everyone participates. North Dakota is committed to protecting the rights of all eligible voters. If you have questions about the information on this video, please visit the North Dakota Protection and Advocacy website. Thank you again for your help.